There's something unforgettable about the sound of tires crunching over gravel. It's a sound that clings to your bones when you've spent over 2 decades in law enforcement. Long nights patrolling empty streets, coffee that tastes like burnt toast, and the comforting weight of a badge right over your heart. So the moment I heard it, those two cruisers rolling up my driveway, I knew instincts never retire. I stepped out onto the porch, years out of uniform but still wired for situations like this. And there she was, my 16-year-old daughter, Sophie, frozen mid-dribble on the driveway, basketball still lazily bouncing behind her like it hadn't noticed the mood shift. And just beyond our manicured hedge stood her, arms crossed, chin high. Karen Whitfield, the newly crowned queen of the HOA. And behind that smug smile, she truly believed she'd won. That smirk faded fast when Officer Delgado stepped out of his cruiser and broke into a grin. "Sophie? Hey there, kiddo," he radioed in calmly. "Dispatch false alarm, just Captain Harris's daughter." Boom. Just like that, Karen's plan backfired. See, I chose to move to Oak Ridge Estates for peace. After 23 years on the force, and after losing my wife, I just wanted a quiet, safe place to raise my daughter. A place where she could be a teenager without worry. The gated community had seemed like the perfect escape. For 3 quiet years, we followed every HOA rule, never caused a ripple, until Karen became president. At first, it was laughable. Sophie parked a little crooked one day, still in our own driveway, and 10 minutes later, Karen was out front snapping pictures like she was building an FBI file. The next morning, violation notice on the door. Improper vehicle alignment. And it only got worse from there. She filed complaints about Sophie's music, even though it was low volume and never past sunset. She reported suspicious behavior when Sophie's friends came over to study. She even left a warning about our oak tree leaves during fall. I thought about ignoring it, but Karen wasn't annoying. She was strategic, calculated. Her rule book was her weapon, and we were the target. She began showing up on our sidewalk every morning as Sophie left for school, timing her walks, watching. One day, Sophie smiled and said, "Good morning." Karen's response? "You'll address me as President Whitfield and show some respect for your elders." It was disturbing, but nothing prepared us for what happened that rainy Tuesday in October. I was covering a double shift. Lieutenant Morris had just become a dad, and Sophie had come home early and was playing basketball in the driveway. Her small speaker played soft music, harmless, but Karen saw her chance. At exactly 4:17 p.m., she called 911. Later, I listened to the recording. Karen's voice was sickeningly sweet, dripping with fate concern. "There's a juvenile acting erratically, possibly using substances." 2 patrol units responded, but what Karen hadn't accounted for. Every cop in the precinct knew my daughter. She grew up around them, colored in the break room, baked cookies for them every Christmas. She wasn't a stranger. She was family. Delgado and Ramirez recognized her instantly. Karen, of course, stormed out demanding they search Sophie's bag, demanded a drug test. Officer Ramirez told her, professionally but firmly, to return to her property. When my desk sergeant called me, I dropped everything. The first words out of his mouth were, "Captain, your daughter's fine, but we need to talk about the Whitfield situation." I got home in uniform, torn between anger and duty. And then I saw the footage. Sophie shooting hoops, Karen peeking through hedges, zooming in with her phone, even pointing toward our garden gnome saying, "She hid something behind there." It wasn't neighborhood concern. It was obsession. That night, I filed a formal harassment complaint, but I didn't stop there. I updated the patrol protocols. Every call from Maple Drive now came through me. Karen wanted to weaponize the police? Fine. She'd just drawn the attention of one who knew how to fire back legally. 3 days later, the HOA called an emergency session. Karen showed up early, dressed like she was presenting a TED Talk, briefcase in hand, ready to drag my daughter and I through the mud. But what she didn't expect was what was waiting for her. The entire HOA board, 2 uniformed officers, a deputy from the district attorney's office, and me, sitting at the head of the table. I laid out the case. 16 false 9/11 reports in 3 months. Harassment of a minor. Abuse of HOA power. The DA's rep explained the charges. Each false report, up to $1,000 in fines. Karen blinked. $16,000. That's outrageous. She tried to claim victimhood, said she was just trying to protect the neighborhood. But then Officer Delgado played the body cam footage. Karen directing police to search behind the gnome. Sophie, soaked from the rain, standing confused in gym shorts. It was devastating. Other board members spoke up. Turns out Karen's tyranny wasn't reserved just for us. She'd gone after a neighbor's yard sign, filed noise complaints against a newborn, even accused a family barbecue of being a gang meetup. The board had had enough. Unanimous vote. Karen was stripped of all HOA authority. From now on, any complaint from her required 2 witnesses to be considered. But it didn't end there. Richard, our new HOA president, cleared his throat and said, "We've also reviewed your HOA expense reports. Turns out $12,000 had mysteriously vanished from the security budget, and Karen had no receipts to back it up." Then came the bombshell. Then she'd run background checks on me, on other officers, on Sophie. Unauthorized access of protected records. That's a federal crime. The room went dead silent. Karen dropped her briefcase. Papers fluttered to the floor, photos of Sophie, notes with times and dates, even one taken through our kitchen window. The DA rep stood and said calmly, "Ms. Whitfield, you are under arrest for stalking a minor and criminal harassment." As she was read her rights, Karen just kept repeating, "I was trying to keep the neighborhood safe." But no one was listening. Total penalties, $28,000. Possible jail time, federal charges pending. She may even be registered as a child offender. And her employer would be notified. All because she thought her HOA badge gave her power. She forgot who she was dealing with. I didn't do this out of revenge. I did it for my daughter, for every decent neighbor she scared into silence, because sometimes justice doesn't wear a badge. Sometimes it wears gym shoes and a rain-soaked hoodie.